Okay, good evening. We're back with Nehemiah chapter 12, a history of the priests and Levites. Here's a list of the priests and Levites who had returned with Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, and Jeshua the high priest. Seraiah, Jeremiah, Ezra, Amariah, Maluk, Hattush, Sekaniah, Hiram, Meremoth, Iddo, Genathon, Abijah, Miniamim, Moadiah, Bilgah, Shemaiah, Jeorib, Jedediah, Silu, Amok, Hilkiah, and Jedediah again. And these were the leaders of the priests and their associates in the days of Jeshua. The Levites who had returned with them were Jeshua, Benua, Kadmiel, Sherebiah, Judah, or Judah? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I think I've been pronouncing it Judea, although I'm not for sure that's correct. And Matna, who with his associates was in charge of the songs of thanksgiving. Their associates Bakabuka and Uni stood opposite them during the service. Jeshua, the high priest, was the father of Jehoiakim. Jehoiakim was the father of Eliashib. Eliashib was the father of Jehoiada. Jehoiada was the father of Jonan. Jonan was the father of Jaddua. Now, when Jehoiakim was high priest, the family members of the priests were as follows. Mariah was the leader of the family of Sariah. Hananiah was the leader of the family of Jeremiah. Meshullam was the leader of the family of Ezra. Johanan was the leader of the family of Amariah. Jonathan was the leader of the family of Malach. Joseph was the leader of the family of Shechaniah. Adnah was the leader of the family of Haram. Hilkiah was the leader of the family of Meremoth. Zechariah was the leader of the family of Iddo. Meshullam was the leader of the family of Genathon. Zikri was the leader of the family of Abijah. There was also a leader of the family of Minamim. Miltiah was the leader of the family of Moadiah. Shemua was the leader of the family of Bilgah. Johanathan was the leader of the family of Shemaiah. Mattaniah was the leader of the family of Jeorib. Uzi was the leader of the family of Jedediah. Kaliah was the leader of the family of Salu. Heber was the leader of the family of Amok, and Hashabiah was the leader of the family of Hilkiah. Nathaniel was the leader of the family of Jedediah. During the reign of Darius II of Persia, a list was compiled of the family members of the Levites and the priests in the days of the following high priests: Elishabib, Joadiah, Johanan, and Jaddua. The heads of the Levite families recorded in the book of history down to the days of Johanan, the grandson of Eliashib. These were the family members of the Levites: Hashabiah, Sherebiah, Jeshua, Benua, Kadmiel, and other associates, who stood opposite them during the ceremonies of praise and thanksgiving, one section responding to the other just as commanded by David, the man of God. This included Mananiah, Bakabuka, and Obadiah. Meshullam, Talman, and Akub were the gatekeepers in charge of the storerooms at the gates. These all served in the days of the Joachim, son of Jeshua, son of Joazak, and in the days of Nehemiah and the governor, and of Ezra the priest and the scribe. Dedication of the Jerusalem's wall. During the dedication of the new wall of Jerusalem, the Levites throughout the land were asked to come to Jerusalem to assist in the ceremonies. They were to take part in the joyous occasion with their songs of thanksgiving and with the song of cymbals, lyres, and harps. So the singers were brought together from Jerusalem and surrounding villages, and from the villages of the Netophahites. They also came from Beth Gilgal and the area of Geba and Azamav, Math, for the singers had built their own villages around Jerusalem. The priests and the Levites first dedicated themselves, then the people, the gates, and the walls. I led the leaders of Judea to the top of the wall and organized two large choirs to give thanks. One of the choirs proceeded southward along the top of the wall to the dung gate. Hoshea and half the leaders of Judea followed them, along with Azariah, Ezra, Meshullam, Judea, Benjamin, Shemaiah, Jeremiah, and some priests who played trumpets. So then came Zechariah, son of Jonathan, son of Shemaiah, son of Mattaniah, and son of Micaiah, son of Zichar, and a descendant of Asaph. And finally came Zechariah's colleagues, Shemaiah, Azaril, Milaliah, Gilaliah, Maya, Nathaniel, Judea, and Hananiah. They used their musical instruments prescribed by David, the man of God. Israel the scribe led his percussion. At the fountain gate, they went straight up the steps on the ascent of the city wall toward the city of David. They passed the house of David and then proceeded to the water gate on the east. The second choir went northward around the other way to meet them. I followed them, and with the other half of the people along the top of the wall, past the tower of the ovens to the bread wall, then past the Ephraim gate to the old city gate, past the fish gate and the tower of Hananel, and went on to the tower of the 100. Then we continued on to the sheep gate and stopped at the guard gate. The two choirs that were given thanks then proceeded to the temple of God, where they took their places. So did I, together with a group of the leaders who were with me. We went together with the trumpet-playing priests, Eliakim, Masonah, Minamim, Micaiah, Elanoiah, Zechariah, and Hananiah, and the singers, Masoniah, Shemaiah, Elizur, Uzi, Johanan, Malchijah, Elman, and Ezra. They played and sang loudly and clearly under the direction of Jezariah, the choir director. Many sacrifices were offered on that glorious day, for God had given the people cause for great joy. The women and children also participated in the celebration, and the joy of the people of Jerusalem could be heard far away. Provisions of the temple worship. On that day, men were appointed to be charged of the storerooms for the gifts, the first part of the harvest, and the tithes. They were responsible to collect these from the fields as required by the law for the priests and Levites, for all the people of Judea valued the priests and Levites and their work. They performed the service. Excuse me while I turn the page. They performed the service of their God and the service of the purification as required by the laws of David and his son Solomon, and so did the singers and the gatekeepers. The custom of having choir directors to lead the choirs in hymns of praise and thanks to God began long ago in the days of David and Asaph. So now, in the days of Zerubbabel and of Nehemiah, the people brought a daily supply of food for the singers, the gatekeepers, and the Levites, and the Levites in turn gave a portion of what they received to the priest and the descendants of Aaron. Okay, and with that, I'll be back later with chapter 13.